First attempt of a little walking and talking video with my friend Ollie here.
Hey guys.
We've grown up together for years and years and years, basically, and we know each other inside out and have a very good insight into each other's lives, and we've both gone through difficult moments, but also just want to
more so
have a ramble about what we're doing. And I want to talk to Ollie first time about the Resilient Collective and the idea between it, so see how it goes. So basically, a little while ago I was trying to find like a meaning or a purpose, because I don't really know if there is such thing as a meaning or a purpose to anyone's life, to be honest. But for me, I was thinking back of what moments helped me, and I was the receiver of people helping massively in terms of like charitable help and just people giving their time and support to me when I was going through difficult times. And that was probably like one of the biggest helper in what I went through. And so like over the last year I was just thinking, how can I give myself a bit more meaning by giving forward that help that people gave me. And I came up to the idea that not necessarily want to be a content creator, but I reckon content is so amplified now, and the people who have such an audience, like I guess content creators are the new newspapers of the world. Like back in the day, the newspaper would be the narrative to what you knew and what you were expecting to hear about. But like now,
there's so much content.
Yeah, I think that narrative is now driven by everyone who wants to make content. But like, I think there's a massive way that we could leverage people's views to do good for people or good causes, not necessarily just people, like, you know, animals, whatever it might be. And there's like loads of people that do these real good things. They go up to people, like help them, and I think there's an element of that I don't necessarily want to do in terms of creating this content, but I think my specialities and what I've learned in terms of a career and whatnot is to organise people together to collectively make those videos on a mass scale. So like, if you've got a big following in your content channel, and we get loads of those people around the world all to have a common interest of doing some good cause videos occasionally, not all the time, and like their input is voluntary, that they can choose to help on a video that week that the Resilient Collective are doing, and amplify the reach by getting all their audiences together and sharing it. So like, you can do a greater reach or a greater impact because you've got several people who've got a big following together.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It does.
And
it's a cool idea.
Oh yeah, I don't want it to be me being the focus of the channel. I want me to be able to orchestrate other people to come together and do that. And not necessarily even as a business. Like, the idea is that if Resilient Collective grew on a scale, that it would be funded by sponsors and advertisements on the pages, but only funded to a means that help the collective grow, and then any like additional would be given back to the people or the good causes in whatever we do.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know, what you think, that's a positive idea or what?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's so much. You mentioned like content. I think there's so much content right now. There's so many channels. I think it's a great idea to get people to collaborate, work together, especially if they have a common goal. And I really like the idea of bringing everybody together and sharing that goal, and working together to progress, to supporting others, but also collectively creating a channel that enables that as well in a sustainable way.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be, we'll like approach everyone who's got 1 million followers. It wouldn't be that situation. it would be approach the people who have the same like-minded like goals, or who would be interested in doing good. You know, there's no point in us approaching people who want to make stupid prank videos. That, you know, there's a market for that, and there's an audience for that, but it's not necessarily do any good. We want the people who want to do the good videos for the reason of doing something for a good cause, rather than a reason for amplifying their views. Because ultimately, like, if we do get all these content creators together, like, there's a benefit to them, because they're going to be exposed to everyone else who's involved in this video's audience as well. You know, if you had your channel, I had my channel, we'd all have a different selection of viewers and followers. But if you're sharing a good cause video that I've recently created, then I'm going to get the benefit of having your followers exposed to me as well, aren't I? So
yeah, absolutely.
I guess
it's that networking piece, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess there's a huge thing like that. Like, we're driven, and I guess like now the networking side of things is really good, because the drive is to network to be successful. Yep. And drive is network to make your business grow. And there's all these like personal positivities with it, but I think like people misuse that network driver for doing good. And I'm not saying like I'm the biggest person that does good for everyone, because I don't. Like, that's the truth behind it. But I do think there is a thing in the world now where people are kind of like searching for their purpose.
Yep.
And they're even more seeing like the shop window, look at this person's lifestyle, mine should look like that. And then, like, obviously we know the mental health crisis is massive these days. But I do think,
and the reality is that, you know, life isn't always as you mentioned, like that what's shown in the window sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be a level of community as well, right? Like, I think the networking brings that level of community, whereas I suppose other channels or other mechanisms to work through probably don't. I think that's a really cool idea.
Yeah. What, in terms of where you set out when you were a teenager and we were asked to choose our career paths and whatnot, and our life choices at the moment in time, which I still can't believe you have to make at the age of like 16. Because
yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
No, like, you've not even lived.
And the stress.
What do you think your stance on or view on your life has changed massively since that moment?
100%. I think like there's always people naturally, I think, gravitate to positions that will generate a level of income, right? Secure themselves in life. I think my view on it is, and my experiences, and yours might differ, but like, it seems as I grow older, I don't necessarily value the financial side as much as I used to when I first left school or university. And I think now it's a case of me understanding a little bit more around balancing the two between like the income, the role, and obviously as well like the time that you have available outside of work to be able to do things that you enjoy.
Yeah.
And I find that that's very important. And I suppose like you touched on the kind of the community piece and the networking piece. I think it's something that, you know, people need to talk a little bit more about, because I think there is a pressure in today's society that, you know, you leave school, you leave university, and you know exactly what you want to do. You're on that path, whereas the reality is that isn't the case all the time.
Yeah.
And people take different paths. People realise at a very, you know, early young age that they don't want to do a certain role or job. And I do think there's a stigma as well of like people, I suppose, like not understanding or knowing what they want at a younger age. I don't know what your views are or your experiences are.
Yeah, I guess like growing up, I think like the society pull was, if you had a nice car, if you had a big house, it meant you were successful. It meant that you were like better than someone to an extent.
Yep.
And I was probably naive to believe that at that time, and so like my drive was like, oh, if I can earn a 6-figure salary as soon as possible, I'm going to be so happy, and I'm going to be better than everything and everyone else. And that was really like naive of me, and really probably selfish of me to think. And then when those moments came in my life and I got the salary, I got the bigger house, I was no happier.
Yep.
I was no more fulfilled. I don't think I felt closer to anyone, or you know, like you say, and then I think about the moments that I enjoy the most, and that's when you're with your friends,
Yep.
when you're with your family, you're laughing,
Quality time.
yeah, quality time. And I think that you can lose sight of that quite easily by, and I was guilty of this. So when I was poorly, like, we've got a successful friend group in terms of what careers they have.
Yep.
And it was quite competitive when we were, you know, in our early 20s. It's like, oh, he's got his next promotion, you know, I should be striving for my next promotion, that sort of element of it.
Healthy level of competition.
Yeah. But then obviously when I had cancer, I was like, I lost like 18 months of my like working career. The next like 4 years, I felt that I had to work double hard. I had to prove that I can get back onto track.
Yep.
And really, like, at the detriment of my own health. Like, I remember going through the ranks in my career, you know, quicker than quite a lot of people, but at the time sacrificing like long days, long hours. You know, I'd have sleepless nights through little bits of stress in those moments, and I thought that was like what life was. I thought that's the sacrifice you make to get to where you want to be. And reality is, I could have done more harm mentally to myself at that time than it was going through all the cancer treatment. And I think like a good thing that I've realised now is the place I work for now, and the person that, you know, I will report into and work with closely at the moment, he has such a good output on life. Like your life's more important than work. And like,
100%.
you know,
That's really good.
Your first moments with memory, that you're going to create memories, they're much more important, and you should always make that as your priority.
Yeah.
You know, work's important, don't get me wrong, and do your job well, but if you do your job well and you're a nice person, you'll be supported in that community again, isn't it? It's the people you work with become, you know, part of your community. And I think that's a huge thing that I think is quite misleading. In definitely our generation, when we were growing up, we were sold that you had to have a nice house, you had to have a nice car.
100%. And I do think that you've got big life events coming up in your personal life, and I think it's a really good, you know, point around that. You know, you're surrounded by people who support being able to kind of disconnect from work at times when there are big events and big changes in your life. I always think of obviously Christmas has just been passed, and me and George watched Elf. You seen Elf?
Yeah. Long time ago.
And the dad of Elf, he's like an author, writer.
Yeah.
And he's really kind of, you know, into his work. He takes it very seriously, but, you know, throughout the story of Elf, it's about this son who's just rejoined his life, and he's trying to connect to his dad, but the dad is very kind of seriously invested in his work to the point where it actually impacts the relationship he has with his son, building that relationship. And at the end, like, there's a curve which, you know, he leaves the business that he works for. And I think that's, like, for me, there's those moments where, like, it's a good reminder that actually it isn't just about work. Like, it's, you know, you have to remember that you have people around you. There's people around you who may need support. There's people around you who, you know, want to spend time with you, and it's about making that time to be able to continue to spend time with people who you love.
Yeah, I guess we work hard at a career, but we forget to work hard at like a life, you know, life events and making memories. Like,
Yeah, it's interesting, like that you say that. I'm sure there's a lot of people within our, and I don't want to like limit the age bracket, but I'm sure there's a lot of people within our generation who are probably experiencing that now.
yeah,
Having worked for a little bit, understanding, experiencing different types of work, the level of stress and pressures that come with work, and then trying to balance that. I'm sure that's probably a bit of an arc that everybody's experiencing right now within our generation.
yeah, and I'm assuming that is part of life. Like, that is something that you learn. Like our life views now are completely different now. We've experienced a working career, aren't they? And I guess that's why this sort of thing is happening for me at this moment in time. Like, wanting to do good for people and give forward, and because we've just experienced how difficult life can be in such an early and like, again, like, talking selfishly about my own doing, I forgot how valuable life is. So literally, like, one day I went to I was I thought I had a bowel disease of some sort. Never crossed my mind that I had cancer.
Yeah.
And then so the one day I was thinking about going to work and like progressing in my career. The next day the phone call was, I'm not coming into work today because I got cancer. Like, the life literally switches like just like that, and how valuable your time is. And then again, going back to, as soon as I was over and done with the cancer treatment, I went straight back to sacrificing what I can to be successful in my career.
Yep.
Which was completely the opposite of what I should have been doing, because I should have realised how valuable and delicate life is, and maybe the memories are more important, and the time in that sense is more important to me than a career. And look, don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful for what I have now and how far we've got with it. But yeah, life's hard, and it's really like it's a balance of what you do going forward. But I guess there's no right answer, but I think my thing would be, like, if we were talking to a younger generation now, there's a lot said to being content and happy, rather than materialism and money.
Yep.
And don't be afraid to choose a career now with the proviso that you can change that at any point. I'm grateful that I enjoy my job, but like, people who get trapped in the system and start getting things that tie them down to like car finance and mortgage, all those sort of things. Like, don't be afraid to make the change, and you hear some amazing stories that people do change their careers, and don't be afraid to. I mean, you're a great story of this. Is like, don't be afraid to step back and realise that moment isn't right for you.
Exactly. Yeah. And like, it might be a case where the environment isn't right for you. It might be a case that the role that you're used to or you thought was the right role for you isn't right for you. It might be the people around you, they're not right for you. There's a number of different factors that should we go around here that I suppose impacts that, over a period of time. Don't be afraid to change the trajectory whenever you feel like.
How hard was the decision for you? Obviously, you're not necessarily changing your projection, but you're choosing your health over success in a career. Well, not necessarily success in a career, because you have a very successful career, but you're choosing your health over your job right now.
Yeah, I think it's like the time piece. I know we've spoken about it already, but I think that is something that a lot of people, I mean, you mentioned you went back, after your illness, you went straight back into work. You're working long grinds, leaving work for about 4:30 in the morning, coming back in the late evenings. I think that's probably the piece that has become normalized for a lot of people, where the reality is, I think that, that's the time where I think a lot of people forget that they need to be doing other things outside of work and spending time with their loved ones or their family, friends. So I think for me, it's recognizing that I probably don't have that time that I should have in my life.
Yeah.
So I mentioned about all the different factors. For me, I think it's more so the environment and the normalization of that, and me having to change that, as opposed to kind of not knowing that, you know, the role is not for me. That's not the case.
Hard, isn't it, man?
Yeah.
Do you think there's
more people should speak about this stuff as well?
Yeah.
It's
not a stigmatism that you don't... Stigmatism, that's not right. It's not like, it shouldn't be looked negative on not enjoying your job and changing your job, or saying that it's not right for you.
Yeah.
Like, but that... it's almost been like ingrained into us the last, 30, 40 years, that you've got to build this huge personal success and you've got to be independent and look at me, I'm doing well, I'm striving for, you know, I'm earning hundreds of thousands of pounds a year. But they're the people that are feeling most lonely, I think loneliness is probably a good word to use, because loneliness is probably a huge factor in like mental health and life. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Feeling lonely is horrible, and if you've got someone there with you that helps support you and through those processes, I mean, that's great as well and lucky, but they're there to take a bit of the burden, and they, like, it's amazing how, again, talking back from previous experience, I wouldn't say things throughout my treatment because I felt like I was being a burden to Megan or my mum and dad. And reality was, as soon as I spoke about them, no way did they even think I was a burden, but it helped in those situations. And that's hard, mate. And I remember, like, you messaging us about your job and whatnot, and I remember just thinking, I'm so happy that you've done that. Because it can be such a difficult thing to do. 100%.
And like, I think I really appreciated that as well, that response that both you and others shared in you know, me sharing that. And I think it's that feeling supported piece, right? That's really, really important, especially if you go through big changes in your life. How was it for you then, like, coming out of like the, you know, having cancer, to getting back into work? Was there like realizations for you when it came to, you mentioned about like the materialistic pieces, like, was there any kind of like change in view on that?
I guess for me, like, the changing view was probably security, and in terms of probably more financial security than anything. And that was still like a process that took me a time to get over. I was still quite materialistic when I came through the journey, because I was, again, exposing myself to a lot of content that was Lamborghinis,
promoting that lifestyle.
Promoting like huge houses in mansion, like LA is the place you should live, and that sort of thing. And there is an element of truth in them, but for me it's like, that's an added extra bit of pressure when times get hard, not having an income. And people need an income, but to live, that's the money makes the world go round sort of thing. But it's how much I was committed or constrained by those commitments that I'd made that was the important bit for me. So like, you know, the first thing I did when I started earning a decent job after graduating was go and buy myself a flash Mercedes. And then I think to myself, what did that bring me other than vanity? And those sort of things changed in my life, but even that's not until probably fairly recently. Like, I feel more comfortable now because I've created myself a little nest egg. But again, the idea is like, I could have more, but why should I have more? Because it does the same thing. Like, I only sleep in one room in my house, you know. We only cook in one room in the house, that sort of thing. So why do you need more of them?
Good point.
You know, like, I drive from A to B, and it's the first time I've had a company car, to be honest, but I drive from A to B, and it doesn't matter what car I use, I just need to get there, you know. And
I mean, that Mercedes was nice.
But you're a massive advocate of this as well. Like, materialism doesn't get you anywhere.
Yeah.
Like whether your clothes are from
It's a trap.
Prada or Primani,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it doesn't really make you any different than anyone
No.
else.
I think there is more people recognizing that. I think it's like, because you do a little bit around working with the younger generation, right? You go to
I've been to a few colleges.
Yeah,
and,
colleges. Right?
yeah.
Like, what's the insight, or what's the view from those individuals? Is it very much focused on the work ethic, getting into roles where people see your trajectory? Like, what is it that?
Yeah, I think there is still a understanding of like, how did you get to your position? And then when I tell them the story and try and explain that how many sacrifices you have to make or how hard you have to work for that, there is a bit of a realization. What I have noticed like recently is a lot more people are avoiding universities.
Okay.
And you know, like when we were growing up, it's like, if you go to uni, that's, you know, you should go to uni because you're going to be secure for life.
Right.
And a lot of more people are now looking for experience more than university.
Okay.
And so, you know, a lot of them want apprenticeships, which is great.
Yeah.
But also, I think, like, in my head, it goes back to that not being afraid to change your career. When you've gone to uni and you've done a degree in whatever you want to do, or what you think you want to do at that time, you almost have this guilt that if you didn't follow your career path that you've just spent, well, now that's like hundreds of thousands of pounds, but you spent all this money on learning to do, and then you go, oh, actually, those 3 years I didn't really enjoy.
Yeah.
And then, but somewhere in the back of your head you think, I've got to do it because I spent all this money and I've got to give it a go.
Right.
But,
and you get yourself trapped in a position.
Yeah. But like the people now that are not doing that, giving them more flexibility.
Yeah.
And you know what I really like? There was a couple of people in the last one, and they were like, genuinely, I'm going to leverage my job on creating this little comfort blanket where then I can afford to go and like travel around. A few of them were like travel to different places, but not just to go and see the areas, but like live their lifestyle, work those jobs over there and experience a different culture.
Nice.
And spend their time just earning enough money to do that one next experience, you know. And I thought that was a really good outlook on life to say,
yeah, that's cool,
because it is hard to we know it's hard to know what you want to do. Like selfishly, well, probably again materialistically, I chose to do a degree in civil engineering because I know my godfather was a civil engineer, lived in Wimbledon, had a nice house, earned a lot of money, and I was like, oh, no, I don't know what I want to do, but sounds good to me.
Yeah, sounds good.
Money. And then, you know, I don't do civil engineering now. I still work in management and construction, but the reason I chose it was wrong. Like, you know, it turned out it worked out right for me because I do enjoy what I do now, and it did help me get into that position. But it's so easy to make a wrong decision on materialism. And money is probably the root of most of the evils, isn't
100%.
it? If you were to like look back on yourself now, or look back at people growing up now, what would you give them as a bit of advice?
It's quite hard. Like, I think that there's a lot of influence now, as we've spoken about it, like the social media side of things, that portray a very lavish lifestyle for a lot of individuals, when the reality is that isn't the case. And I think that then puts a pressure on people, young people, where they think that they need to go into a profession that will enable that lifestyle. I think the reality is, like, that's nice. Having the nice things is nice, but I think, as we've already spoken about it, our learnings is that, I suppose when you get to a certain age, like those things, the feeling doesn't last for long. And I think then that exposes the importance of relationships, friends, family, spending time, being able to do things that you actually enjoy, whether it's going creating a shed in the back garden somewhere, or whether it's going fishing or going for walks around different estates, whatever you're interests are, allowing or spending the time to be able to do those things. I was very similar to you, like, I did business management as kind of a degree at university. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but it had business in, so I knew, do you know what? There's going to be a certain level of income that comes with that area of work or that industry. So I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool that young people now are more open to experiencing, not the university path, but doing the things they want to try, whether it's apprenticeships, whether it's different areas of work. I suppose my advice would be to continue on with that and to
give them more time to find out
yeah.
what they want to do, rather than trying to make this decision so early on.
100%.
Yeah, definitely. Just going back to like the ideology of the resilient collective that we're trying to grow. Is there
your top, by the way.
Cheers, man. Is there something you would want to like? So I don't want the resilient collective to be a charity, because that, to me, that like defines that someone's above someone else and requires help. For me, it's about like coming together, just doing good things for the good people. You don't have to be in need for that person to do something good for them.
Right.
Is there something you would, from your past experience, or is there anything that now you'd immediately said, like if I said to you, let's go and do something good for someone, what comes to your mind straight away? And for example, for me, like right now, like my giving forward moment today would be message my mum and dad and Megan's family just to say thank you for everything you did for us in the 18 months of going through all the treatment. Like, is there anything in your mind at the moment you'd think?
Yeah, I think like the tokens of appreciation, I think it doesn't have to be a lot, but recognizing that if there's a community and everybody's working on the same page, there can be a level of, morality boost.
Yeah.
And showing appreciation through working with each other.
Yeah.
Opening up to different projects as a collective, or, to your point, like just saying thank you. Yeah,
I guess like probably just say thank you as well to you, mate, for always being there and
well, thank you for joining me on this lovely walk today.
Yeah, man, listening to what we.
For those of you who don't know, we're at Belton, and it's a fantastic place.
Yeah, little National Trust, which is really good for families as well, isn't it? National Trust, having a good walk. There's always like decent
good for your mental health.
Yeah, man. Fresh air. But yeah, if you can enjoy this video, and thanks for listening to us both ramble on. And if you found anything useful, please do feel free to add something into the comment section, and we can talk about it however you want. Or again, come back together as a community collectively to help others, give forward. If you've just said thanks to someone today, again, just let us know. But it will really help us amplify our reach in what we want to do, by following the video, following our chat today, helping grow the channel, because again, reach of views and amplification helps us do far greater good with a bigger audience. And it's that compounding effect of coming together. And also, if you start helping us reach more people, I'll be able to have more of a impact when I message other content creators to say, you want to come together and collaborate on doing something good. They'll actually listen to me rather than, oh, what's this channel, just messaged us, we've got 2 followers, you know what I mean? it just gives you that level of credibility. So, but I just want to thank you for your time, and if you can help us by giving us a thumbs up and following the channel, I'll link them all below as well. Much appreciated. Thank you, guys.
Peace.